We are now live with the Reach Podcast Show with LeVar Ellis. Thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you being here. Today, guys, we have a wonderful show set up. We have a wonderful show. We have an awesome guest, and we couldn't be more excited to have her on the show. So today we have an amazing young lady, and we'll let her introduce herself to you guys in a minute. But first and foremost, I want to say thank you to our sponsors of the Reach Podcast Show. Today and actually all of this month, the Joseph Consulting Firm. Man, I appreciate you guys and all that you guys do for the show and for myself. So nonetheless, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I am Jayresa SASS. I am Jayresa SASS. I am a life strategist and empowerment mentor, equipping men and women with life goal focus skills through restorative healing avenues to basically, support them with encouragement and, through engagement and, things like that. I am now officially an author. I am now officially a talk show host. It's so many nows for me as of yesterday, and I'm so excited to be here today. So I want to thank you.
Absolutely. And just to give people a little bit of information, shout out to my sister, Nikki Diamond. She, when I was putting together the walk for Dad Chronicles, which is my yearly fundraiser, I was building the resource center so that way people can have resources and everything. And so she referred you, and you can jump right in. And, we built the resource center. You were featured on there, still featured on there, because I told you I run it to the end of the month and reached out to you and asked if you got a new podcast. And so here we are. Yes. It's right after you release your book, your talk show, and your apparel. So, that's just amazing, man. So, nonetheless, I like to just jump into it, and again, I appreciate all the listeners. And let's just talk about, why we started that, give them a little information about you, and let's get to know Miss Jayresa a little bit.
Yes, so let me start off by saying I'm also known as your benevolent and sassy mentor. But prior to me focusing on and developing, becoming your benevolent and sassy mentor, I spent 8 years working with adults who have developmental disabilities and mental health, and basically in different stages of within the environment, right? Working, basically they live in group home settings. Sorry, I'm just like so excited. Hold on. So they live in group home. They live in group home settings. And what my role was prior to me transitioning into the entrepreneur role, I was a behavior intervention specialist. So my focus was how to decrease challenging behaviors when they're upset, when they are not receiving the care that they need, or when they're trying to communicate and they're not being heard in the proper way, or anything in that nature. And it was my passion. But I also was focusing on a way to increase and change the quality of life that they were being provided through their social engagement, because I knew that, because we are social human beings, and we thrive through social networking. I felt that was a way to, get them out of the space that they're used to, and bring them into a different environment that they can be around other people doing different things that they're not used to. And then those behaviors would decrease because now we change the environment. So with that being said, it also, everything that I was teaching them helped me transition with realizing that I was experiencing trauma since I was about 10 months old. Oh, wow. And I didn't know that that's what I was experiencing until I hit the age of 34. And I took an abnormal psychology course and realized that, wow, for so many years I've been traumatized, and I didn't know that it was trauma. I never knew.
Wow.
And not to get religious on anyone, but with God's timing, and I just want to state that loud and clear, that this is all a mission and a purpose and an assignment that I'm on at this moment of time. And I'm saying that because I'm just shocked and surprised at everything that's happening at this moment.
Yeah.
And you know,
won't he do it?
huh?
I said, won't he do it?
Yes, won't he? Listen. Oh man, won't he do it? You know, and like I said, so implementing the techniques and things that I was implementing with teaching this population, it also gave me the opportunity to figure out an avenue of healing myself, because I tried therapy. You know, I didn't find the right people that I felt matched me at the time. And I felt like I didn't want to search anymore, and I needed healing now. At that moment, I was desperate. I was desperate. And I felt like I needed healing now. So I decided to say, okay, well, what is it that you're already doing these things for the population. Your behaviors are matching what their behaviors are, may not be to the same degree. However, because you are verbal, right?
Right.
They cannot speak, some of them. So what is it that you're doing that may help them when you are around, that you can implement in your life? And that's how this journey started in regards to that, and how I developed into focusing on trauma. Like so many people, and even trying to get interviews and things like that, when I ask anyone that I know been through trauma, would you like to participate? Their first response is, nah, I've never been through trauma before.
Yeah. Don't even
and realize. They say that wrong because they don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're helping them focus in on that and recognize that it actually is trauma that you're going through. So when you realize that, what is the process for you to actually come to grips with it and realize that's what it was? Did it take a long time for you to actually pull together and understand that, or how did it come to light for you?
Wow. Oh, I love that question. And that's one thing I realized that I didn't speak about on the talk show when we get there. Once again, we're going to go with God's timing. Mm-hmm. When I hit 34 years old, my birthday, I remember standing in my old bedroom, and the voice was just vivid. And it said to me that I needed to go to my mother and ask her, what did she mean by when she came home? Now, I will always hear stories growing up, and sometimes growing up in those Black families, we all have stories that we may hear that is never, elaborated on.
Yeah.
And that basically was the situation. It was never elaborated on. And I went and I asked her. And that's when she stated to me that, she left at 10 months old. I was 10 months old when she left. And she didn't come back into my life till I was 5.5.
Oh, wow.
And she said when she told me that, she saw a revelation, like, and a blank stare, like, wow. And at that moment, I feel like that was the completion to all of the tools that I gathered along the years, and putting together that final piece to the puzzle to realize that I was damaged at an early age. And that's why I was experiencing so many things. Because like I said, once starting that abnormal psychology course, it made me want to dig deeper into my life and find out what was going on with me.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I even became the live class experiment of having anxiety attacks in the classroom when we talked about certain subjects. Going through panic attacks and so many things that I would just have to get up and say, excuse me, I need to leave the classroom.
Right.
Realizing that it was a connection, things that I didn't want to really probably talk about, or that was new, that was just, my body didn't know how to process it. I didn't know how to process it. And that was also something else that made me get a hold on saying, okay, well, you need to figure this out before you can move forward. And then God just aligned the opportunity for my voice to be heard.
Cool. And that has to be an amazing feeling to recognize that God is paving out a way for you to be heard, to be
Yes.
mentoring yourself, and just letting your story be something that can help so many others. And so that's what I would like to say. Well, let's talk about the clothing first. I see you have your shirt on.
Yes.
You know, she is not her trauma.
Yes.
Let people know how they can contact you and get their shirts.
Yeah, so it is available for purchase on my website at jayresasass.com, www.jayresasass.com. And it says she is not her trauma. If you can see it, it's an affirmation tee. So she is not her trauma. She is yes to her. She is beautiful. She is powerful. She is thriving. She is more. And at the time that I decided to put this on a t-shirt, I just felt that it was the words that was given to me to say that I wanted to empower someone else who just felt like they were defeated at any moment in their life, to show that they're not a label and this is who they are, right?
Yeah.
And more. So it is available for purchase on my website, jayresasass.com. So I'm excited about that.
And I got it scrolling at the bottom of the screen. I hope you can see that on your end. Can you see it?
I can't, but listen, I'm not even worried, y'all. I'm just like on this high horse at this moment on clouds.
Yeah,
with all the blessings that I'm receiving.
Absolutely. So you guys definitely go to the website that's scrolling at the bottom. You know, you can get the shirts and all the other information, but we want to get deep into the situation now. So let's start with last night. Let's talk about last night and yesterday and how that whole experience went for you. Tell the people about that before we get into the book and the talk show.
Oh my goodness. Last night was such a emotional night, but in a beautiful way. And the reason why I say that is because as soon as the talk show aired and premiered, I cried like a big old baby. But the reason why I cried is because it was a reality check to say that sometimes you don't have to think about what you want to do. Just staying aligned with your true self and staying aligned with the things that you know that you're passionate about can get you anywhere that you never even imagined.
Right.
And that's why I cried. And just to know that I'm on TV, being able to empower and help someone else and help other people share their stories. So I'm just like, I was just so beyond blessed about that.
Right. You know, and I know it's a wonderful look. So for the audience and the people watching, you know, I know it says she is not her trauma, the thriving woman and stuff like that. So, you know, my organization, we deal with youth, and, you know, I always tied into that. So do you help men? You know, I know it's a crazy question. I already know the answer, but I'd like for you to elaborate on
I
that.
do. Listen, I do. Men, you guys are not excluded. What I want to emphasize on is when I say she, right? Yes, I am talking to all of my strong, independent, non-independent, whatever type of woman you are out there. But I'm also talking about myself too, because I had to realize that for myself, that I am not my trauma, right? So that doesn't exclude a man, because there are so many of you out there that are going through situations and don't have an avenue, and know that you're not alone. And even if you can't find anyone, you can reach out to me. I don't discriminate on anyone, because I am still here, you know, for a purpose, helping everyone, you know, get to the next step.
Absolutely. So you're definitely open to the men. That's one thing. And, you know, I have to share the same thing with the women. I'm open to the women as well. So we're moving in the same avenues, and we're just opening up our arms to everybody. So that's an amazing thing. But let's jump into the show. Tell us how everything culminated. You know, give the name of the show and everything, and just talk about the talk show, and then we'll go into the book.
Yes. So once again, but the name of my talk show is She Is Not Her Trauma. With your host, Jayresa, your benevolent and sassy mentor. We are on the brand new Black-owned Promote Her channel at Promote Her TV. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Promote Her TV app. Streaming on 8 different platforms. We are on Roku. We are on Amazon Fire TV. We are on Apple TV, iOS TV, Android TV, Google Play TV, Web TV, and YouTube TV. Streaming to over 360 million viewers.
That's huge.
72 million households. So I am so excited that once again, I have been aligned by my higher power to get into this opportunity. We are airing on 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. As the platform is for women to be able to share their story, embrace their truth, their trauma, and transformation. Share their story on what they experienced with trauma, how they were able to transition that into realizing that they are no longer being held down with that label, and now being able to transition into the thriving woman that they are today. So it's just a platform to, allow them to embrace, everything about themselves and what they experience, and be able to provide that, aspiration and hope for someone else who may be watching that may be experiencing similar, situations.
Absolutely. And so you welcome the guests to come on. How they feature you? I have your email. I can give them that. But if they want to be a guest on the show, what is the process, or what do they need to do?
Yes. So if you would like to be a guest on my show, you can always go to my website. Once again, we're going back to the website, and emphasizing on the website, you can find out everything about me. The only thing that I don't have connected to that is my nonprofit organization that is a social club for adults with mental health and developmental disabilities. But everything about me you can find there. And go to the TV tab, television show tab, and just click on I would like to share my story, and follow the prompts from there. And I am more than welcome to accept anyone who is willing to share their story.
That's cool. So, now it's you're live and you're out there. Congratulations again, too. That's an amazing feeling to be in all of those households. But what can someone expect from you when they're going to you as a personal coach? What can they expect to get from you, and what can they look forward to?
So for the talk show, what you can expect. So last night I talked about my story and what was my purpose of why I wanted to share it with the world. And once again, going back to the beginning of our conversation here today, just about why I felt that focusing on trauma was just so important for me. So in each episode, we speak to a different woman who has experienced trauma in some type of way. Because once again, we're going to say trauma can, a traumatic experience can be anything to anyone, because we all react to things differently. And many women talk about their experiences. So we have some women talking about experiencing both bipolar, depressive disorder. We have women talking about, being sexually abused, and talk about, so many different incidents of, childhood abandonment. Childhood trauma is one of the biggest traumas. So many children are traumatized at an early age. So it's so many women just sharing their story on what type of trauma they experienced, how they experienced it, and how they were able to transition into the women that they are today. What things are they doing? Because once you go through your healing process, and even though you're not fully healed, what's important is how you transition that story into helping someone else be able to have a testimony. So I'm excited about that. Yes. So anyone that's willing to share their story can definitely visit me at jayresasass.com. Click the share my story button, and I can't wait to hear what you have to offer. I'm so excited. And that's what I mean by also embracing everything about you, right? people say, oh, how can you embrace trauma? Well, shouldn't we be releasing it? Listen, the reason why I say it is because you have to accept it, right? Hold on to the fact that this is something that happened to you. Figure out the avenues on how you can cope with it to where it's not hindering you anymore. And then continue from there. So that's what I mean by embracing your trauma, right? Embracing your truth. Your truth. What is your truth? Your truth that this happened to me? Your truth that you had a piece in it? Or is it your truth that, you're just still in shock as to something that happened to you? And that's okay too. We have to embrace our truth. Own up to what is hindering us in some type of way. Confess it, right? And embrace your transformation. Celebrate it. I got past that. And now look at me today. So that's what I mean by that.
Jay, can you hear me?
Yeah, what happened? We lost you.
Yeah, it kicked me out. I apologize for that. It kicked me all the way out. So, yeah, I apologize about that. The internet gave out over here on my end. But
it's okay. I was still talking if everybody couldn't hear me.
I saw you. So that's cool, and unfortunately I didn't see where you left off or heard where you left off, but I know you gave them the information that they needed.
Yeah, so I gave them the information that they needed in regards to how they can purchase my T-shirt and how they can find out show information and where they can go to share their story. If anyone is looking on ways to advertise their business, also, have a commercial. Who doesn't want to have a commercial about what they got going on? Like, who does not want that,
Yeah, absolutely.
And getting themselves out there into so many people, that is like so amazing. Like,
right.
Shoot, I even made myself a commercial and put it on somebody else's show.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get myself out there. Even with that, they can go on the website and click, I would like to, become a sponsor. Anything that they need is right on my website, jayresasass.com. So they can find everything that they need there.
All right. Well, we definitely appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. And again, audience, excuse, you got engineers trying to fix everything, but you kept it going. So that's cool. That's cool. So the Thriving Woman, I know it's an interactive workbook, and I guess a lot of exciting things that the ladies get from that. But talk about the book.
Oh my goodness. Oh. So once again, we're gonna go back to a little bit when you have something inside of you that you really don't know you have inside of you, and when it's pushed out of you, is when you're like so shocked that you've been holding on to so much information. And I remember taking a course a masterclass by Roz Miller Choice, who is the expert maker. Shout out to my promote her sister. And she is the expert maker because she helps people basically transition and take out whatever they are holding inside of them and transition it into multiple streams of income. And that's kind of how the Thriving Woman came about. I was first developing workshops. I wanted to just do workshops to be able to share my story and help people and guide them through, ways and avenues on how they can, just free themselves through everyday, situations. And once I finished the workshops, I had 7 workshops that I had put together, not realizing that I had put together 7 workshops. I mean, and those 7 workshops included, the outline, the overview, the educational piece of it, the exercises that, went a part of it and all of those things. And after completing it, Roz said, well, Jayresa, did you realize you put together a whole book? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And it just went from there. I remember I was saying during prayer one night, like, okay, God, I put together these workshops. So now what I'm going to do with it? Bam. The ebook. So that's basically how that transitioned. Of course, I made a lot of adjustments and stuff along the way, but what's so amazing about it is that, you know, it opens up with a very welcoming, warming letter to any woman out there who is ready to thrive, who is ready to, you know, transition from once feeling defeated and lost. And it provides you with, you know, educational pieces on about trauma, how to live in the moment, how to nurture yourself through forgiveness, how to you know, maintain healthy relationships. What is your communication style? What is your love language? Yeah. All of those things, which is so important when you're learning yourself and trying to be a better person for yourself. And that's basically what that came about. So the Thriving Woman, you know, is that interactive workbook where you go through different chapters, outlining 7 different areas that I felt was important. So you get in that first layer or maybe second layer of what you need to start your road to healing, you know, on down to you have, and the reason why it's interactive, because you have to do the exercises to embrace and be able to, you know, get fulfillment out of everything that you're doing within the workbook. On down to your affirmations, making a vision board. You know, I can't make the vision board for you because it's your vision. So you have to believe in you. And that's the purpose of why it's a workbook.
Absolutely. I'm going to pull it from the website. Your workshops, they include understanding trauma, living a balanced life, transforming excuses, manifesting your heart's desires, living in the moment, healthy relationships with communication, nurturing yourself through forgiveness, challenging negative thinking and engaging a positive mindset, self-esteem and self-confidence, successful goal setting, and creating change, prioritizing, and time management. Those are some awesome things to talk about. Which one do you enjoy the most? I'll put you on the spot.
Say that again?
I said, which one of those do you enjoy the most?
Nurturing yourself through forgiveness. We don't realize how important that is, right? It's so important because we have to learn how to forgive ourselves. We have to learn how to forgive other people. We have to just forgive in general in order to heal. And even if you didn't experience trauma, any situation, if you cannot forgive someone, you're not over it. I don't care what you say.
Yeah. And
just because you forgive don't mean that you have to be their friend. You can love them from a distance.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've experienced that myself, you know, and that's to speak on that, that's the part that people don't really understand. If you're still afflicted by something in your past, you're definitely not over it. So if you don't mind, speak on that part. Like, what would you suggest? What do you describe to people to deal with that?
What in regards to what?
To getting past something that has affected you and you can't find the forgiveness, move past it.
Oh, it's so many things that you can say about that, right? But what I can say is first, for me, my biggest thing is finding your spirituality side, right? You know, whoever your higher power is, right? Because at the same time, you believe in something greater than you. And there's some way somehow that you have to, something and someone is forgiving you, right? For me, God is forgiving me. If I'm asking, please forgive me for this and that, you know, and I'm being forgiven for anything that I may have done, why can't you be able to relive, relieve that for within yourself and relieve that within someone else as well, right? Because just because they're not accepting your apology, or they're not accepting whatever it is that you want to move forward with, you being able to say, I forgive, is what really is the main purpose of it all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so we have a few comments. I don't know if you've seen it. Miss Amani Ellis, that's actually my oldest daughter. What's up, baby girl? She wants to know how much is the book. And of course, I told her visit the website. But
yes, $14.99.
All right, say again.
$14.99.
$14.99. So we'll use this as what I call the commercial. So now's the time where you basically let everybody know who you are, for people that are tuning in, and how they can find the book and the talk show. So it's your platform, so go ahead and give yourself a commercial.
Yes, so hello to everyone that is just tuning in. Once again, my name is Jayresa SASS, also known as your benevolent and sassy mentor. For anyone interested in the She Is Not Her Trauma Affirmation Tee, you can visit my website, www.jayresasass.com. And when you click on book, because it's all it collaborates, it goes together. You know, both advertisements for the book and the t-shirt is on the same page. And you can just click the buy button for both separate tabs and actually purchase there. Any information in regards to my upcoming talk, well, sorry, I'm so used to saying upcoming talk show. It has premiered yesterday.
Okay. Hey, and is there a way to get a recap of that? Can we go back and visit that show?
So, honestly, I believe starting next week, you'll be able to actually go and access the on-demand piece of the network and revisit any old episodes. So next week, Wednesday, you'll be able to catch the brand new airing episodes at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Promote Her Network TV. And then like I said, you know, and then you will be able to see all of that information there. Anyone willing to share their story, be able to, you know, just relieve themselves from maybe holding on to something for so long and maybe not wanting to share it with certain people, or just feeling like, wow, I shared it with other people and now I'm ready to take that leap of faith to say, okay, well, I'm ready to share it with the world. Whatever your choice is, you have that opportunity to go there and click on that option on my website.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's just some amazing stuff that you're providing with the ladies. What is some nuggets or just advice that you would give to people that are dealing with trauma, just to talk a little bit more about it? What are some nuggets that you can give? You know, the free counseling sessions we'll give to the people right now to, of course, draw them to you. But what would you say the steps would be, whether there are 2 or 3 steps that you would have people recognize and help them understand what it takes to get in a position to actually, you know, because I know you have to own it, you have to understand it, and you have to deal with it, you know, those type of things. But what would you say to someone who may not even understand what they're going through, like you were speaking about yourself earlier, having to realize that?
Yeah, so I'm going to give a good example, right? Let's go with that breakup, that heartache, that heartbreak moment that you've been through. Because I think that for me, that was one of my moments of saying, okay, well, you know what? I'm tired of feeling like this, no matter what the circumstances are. So let's go with that heartache, that moment that you feel like, oh my goodness, my heart is broken and I don't know what to do. You haven't been eating for days. You've probably been losing your mind. Bruh, sis, you are going through a traumatic situation. I'm just letting you know that. So for those who's just saying, okay, well, I haven't experienced trauma. Yes, you have. Why? Because you lost sleep over that. You lost meals over that. You stopped going around people over that. You've been traumatized, right? And I just want to let somebody else, like I said, know that, right? And that's okay. We all go through it. So you shouldn't be ashamed of something that is so natural. It's so normal. Right. You know, people that experience surgery, that's a traumatic situation. It might not have affected you mentally, but it affected your body, and your body also holds on to trauma, right? And when your body holds on to trauma, it tends to also affect other parts of your body. So, you know, it's okay. You're not alone. We all go through it. And that's all I want to say, you know. And that first step is for you to be able to identify that feeling that you feel at that moment and know your why. Why do I feel this way? Why is it making me think the way that I'm thinking? Why? Just why? Why? I mean, even if just write why, just write it. Read it over so that you can hear yourself say the reason why out loud. Yeah. And then, you know, take it from there. Reach out to other people, ask them for help if you don't mind. And, you know, you're not alone. Don't feel embarrassed because it happens to everyone.
Right. And that's one of the things I'd like to touch on a little bit more too. You know, it's And I've experienced it. You know, we go through something and then we feel like we don't want to talk about it, whether we're embarrassed, whether we're ashamed, whether we feel like people are not going to understand, people are going to make fun of us, whatever the case may be. You know, I strongly encourage people just getting out and talk to people. But at the same time, we also have to recognize everybody's not the same. Everybody, they have coping mechanisms, you know, things that they do. So you have to be sensitive to that. So in regards to that, just in general, I know you said just write down the whys, and even it's like if you can't think of anything, just write why, you know, and it's a process that you go through, so that way you can move on to that next step. You know, what would you say is the most important phase or step or recognition that you can do or make as you're experiencing trauma? What do you feel is like the most important thing to be able to move forward, as far as whether it's a stage you're in or just what part of that whole dealing do you think is best to understand?
So I'm gonna go. Okay, so once again, I'm no expert. Anyone out there? What everything that I'm saying and everything that I talk about is everything that I have implemented to get me to where I am today. Yes, I was defeated, lost, feeling like I couldn't even breathe, think, all of those things. At today, there's so many things that I am doing at this moment, by the grace of God, that I'm still surprised of. But I mean, the abundance and the blessings just keep pouring in regards to all the assignments. But what I will say is, nurturing yourself through forgiveness, to me, is one of the most important things. Why? Because I remember when I got to that one phase, and I talk about that in the workbook too. Going through that one phase of saying, okay, well, now I've realized that, okay, I know my why. I realized I've identified my triggers. I've identified certain things about everything that I experienced. I know what my piece was in it. I accepted those things. And now it's time for me to move forward to writing that letter or figuring out that piece on how I'm going to express myself about to the person or why I feel the way that I feel. For me, it was the worst thing ever. Why? Because the responses I got behind it was, oh my goodness, it was cringing. It was just hurtful to me. You know, I got, well, why you ain't burn it and throw it away and you know, and throw it in the trash. Or I got, oh, well, when you get better, then you come over here and you talk to us. Or when you know, and all I wanted to do was just heal. Yeah. And why it was so important to me is because it taught me how to embrace the fact that I have already accepted what I went through. So no matter what their response was, I've already accepted it. And that is what was important for me. Because even though they told me to throw it away, trash it, and I expressed it to them, even though I didn't receive the verbal response that I wanted, me being just writing it down because I did decide to write a letter. And I wrote a text message. And like I give different tools and techniques on what you can do. But even because I wrote it down and got it all out of my space, my area, I felt relieved, and that was so helpful for me.
Right. And you hear that so many times, and I've heard that, you know, even if it's a good thing sometimes and you're scared to tell somebody, writing a letter and maybe never mailing it off, you know, putting it in the envelope and just seal it up, and you don't have to mail it off, you know, if you don't know what's to come or you're nervous about it. But I hear that that's a good remedy. I've never done that myself, but, you know, I've heard several people say that. And then you got it off your chest. It relieves you, you know, and it, like they say, gets the monkey off your back, so to speak. So I think that's a wonderful tool that you can use. So in regards to the process, we talked about COVID-19 and we talked about the struggle and the things. I really want people to understand you and understand that you really wanted this and how hard you worked. So speak on that process a little bit and how COVID affected you, because everybody's talking about the effects of COVID, you know, and this is that Excellence in Black Business series that I'm running. We didn't really speak on that much, but you're just exuding excellence. So you definitely fit the mold to be part of this interview series that I've been doing for the last 2 months now. So talk about that. You know, what was the process, or, you know, give us some details on why it was so passionate for you and why it was so important, and the hiccups and, you know, and just the journey.
Yes. Oh man. So, COVID-19 was Oh, it was such an experience for me. And the reason why it was such an experience for me is because we were in isolation. Do anybody realize that? Isolation, not being able to like do nothing, and we had no control. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah,
And the reason why I'm pulling on my hair is because imagine someone that went through domestic who has been controlled all their life, and now you're being controlled again, and you're unable to do what you want to do. Although
right,
you know that it's for a legitimate reason, mentally you can't process it. And you're
right,
just feeling like, oh my goodness, I'm being controlled again. Right? That was me. I have so many things that I've experienced that COVID-19 took a toll on me but it also was a blessing because I came out shining. I came out thriving. I came out with so many things. To be transparent, my son was missing for 3 weeks, and I
yeah,
didn't tell anyone besides the immediate people. So imagine your child missing for 3 weeks. You don't know where he is. Um, you're locked in the house.
whoa,
You
whoa,
have to
whoa,
film
whoa, whoa.
episodes.
Whoa, hold on. You just blew me away with that. And the fact that you shared that, we got to talk about that. So, if you can, give us some more details on that, because that's trauma within itself. Because
Absolutely,
I
and
don't
that's
care
where I
about
was
my
going, brother.
kids. I
That's
don't.
what I was getting to.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I was just like, what? So, go ahead.
Yeah, so and that's what I was getting to. So, and that's why I said imagine. So imagine all of those things, and you still got to film. You still have to. Oh, let alone I was still going. I was just finishing my senior year in college. I'm homeschooling a kindergartner, a high schooler. All of these things are happening during COVID-19. And I'm like, holy cow, I'm going through trauma, trying to get out of a situation, on down to making sure that I'm still thriving to finish school. I'm writing a book. I have no choice but to film because I am paying my money. So now we need to figure out how we're going to pivot. So many things that happened during COVID, and it was so, 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 so stressful. So I can honestly say that last night, and I'm being so transparent with you guys, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I slept peacefully.
Man,
I felt accomplished.
that's good. That's good. So, your son, how old was he? Or is he?
15. I'm going through teenage issues.
Yeah, man. Okay, and so I assume he was found, everything was good.
Say that again.
I said, I assume he was found and everything was good at the end of the day.
Yes. So with God, prayers and things like that, and me just being, teaching myself patience, because not one time did I panic. I mean, I did cry and the things that a mother will go through, but I trusted in God through the whole process. So he is fine. He is okay, despite of all of the things that I went through, and I also know that I was also going through a spiritual attack at the moment. I had so many things and great things happening that was coming my way. I just need to figure out how to tune in to get through that situation and still continue to thrive.
Yeah,
And with all of that, a second book also came to develop from that. So I'm excited about that as well. So, I mean, I just want to let everybody know that it's life. We all go through things. Don't be ashamed. I once was ashamed for many years,
yeah.
until now I'm just like so free with it because I'm happy and I just feel free.
That's good, man. That's interesting to know, because obviously that's something I didn't know. But to experience that, that's definitely. I just made a post the other day on my Instagram, basically saying that the devil knows when to attack. And when you are going through things, that's when he's going to attack, and you're going to be. You're basically battle tested. You know what I mean? He attacks your faith, grab your kids because they know how to get us. The things that make you weak and give up, and the thing that I want people to recognize what you said is you never lost the faith. You stayed faithful, and you came out victorious on the other end.
Yes.
And just when you're about to have that breakthrough is when things happen, is when you lose your mind, or he tries to make you lose your mind. And those are the things that we have to understand. If you have the faith, then you have it, and you just have to depend on it. And I can't think of a better example to use, but your child missing to help people understand. In this situation, you kept your faith, and look at you now. I mean, you've been blessed. You know, you got through everything. So congratulations on all of the launches from yesterday, graduating college, getting your son back, and that restful night of sleep you got last night. You know,
yes, and that's what I tell everybody, and that's why I say she is not her trauma, right? Not, and then I say this in the show last night, right? Once I realized that I am no longer using my trauma as an excuse, so embracing my truth, right? And that's where embracing your truth come in at. No longer using that as my excuse, because although I may not have been the one to get me into that traumatic experience, me embracing it and holding on to the sob story was the excuse. The sob story that I've been through it, right? Holding on to that and knowing that that is what received and got me the attention that I was looking for at the time. Once I was able to realize that is what was able to like transition me in total. So I'm just like so excited about that.
Man, that is amazing. I mean, you're living it. So I mean, you're not just doing this. It's not you like, oh, what can I do to, you know, get attention? It's you're living it, and you're giving back through your life lessons and things you've experienced. And like you said, you're no expert in it, but you know, we talk about school and education and this and that, but you are educated as well, went through college. But my thing is, our life lessons is what teaches us the most, you know, in my personal opinion. You know, all the education in the world, you know, there's people who graduate and can't even use their degrees, but we have to pull from our life lessons and shape those things in a manner to where we can give back, because everybody has a story. It's just a matter of whether or not you're going to speak it, and if you're going to share it, and if you're going to embrace it, if you're going to own it. And like I tell everybody, like I told my daughter this morning,
yes, brother,
listen to this show this morning, because she's been through certain things. You know, other people have been through certain things, and that's what helps you the most, is to speak on real life experiences. So I like to segue, you know, again, I'm looking at your website. You have a mentoring program that you have up, and I see you have a level 1, 2, and 3, because that's what the thing is for me, is to mentor these kids and the youth, even mentor the men to help them be a better man. Like I always say, I make jokes about it, but it's true. Jay-Z, Barack Obama, if they look in the mirror, I guarantee you, and they stare long enough, they can find a way that they can be better. You know what I mean? But that's who we look up to, and that's who we strive to be like. Be your best self. You know, that's another thing. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Find your best self. Find your inner peace. Find the thing that makes you better, which is another thing that COVID has helped us do, is to find a way to be better. Find a way to give back to the world, to the community, to yourself. That's the thing. You started off talking about that. You started with self. And I started off 2020 saying that this was going to be the most selfish year that I've ever lived. And it's not, but it is, because everything that I'm doing, I'm trying to be better, but I'm giving it back. You know what I mean? So it's not a self thing. It's just, I want to be my best self, so that way people can be their best self based off the stories that I share, based off the people that I come in contact with and sharing these stories. So speak on your mentor program, if you don't mind, you know, the level 1, 2, and 3, and how people can get involved with that.
Yes. So so with the mentoring program, everyone is at a different stage in life, right? So I have it to where it's set up that you can get separate sessions. So it's in packages, to where you have different levels. So it goes by monthly enrollment. You can just basically, you know, get different sessions that you feel like you necessarily need. But with that being said, you know, we meet as a group and we have group sessions, right? Because I just feel like other people telling their story or telling things that, you know, things that they've done or what they've used can help towards your healing as well. And just being able to even build that relationship with someone else is important, because sometimes, you know, when two people are experiencing the same thing, at least they can be able to maybe swap tools, ideas, or resources and what they've been able to utilize. You know, my main focus is focusing on the 8 methods of wellness, right? And the 8 dimensions of wellness, which focuses on the 8 important areas of your life: spirituality, physical, you know, emotional, environmental, all of those things. And that focuses on different aspects of within yourself. You know, for instance, if you need healing, LeVar, you know, and your healing is also being hindered by your living arrangements. You need emotional wellness. You need environmental wellness. You're going through something, to where you need assistance in your environment. And if you fix this situation in your environment, maybe that'll be another, piece to your puzzle, or another piece that you can utilize in your toolbox towards your road to healing. And those things are so important. I have another message that I just it's just been heavy on my heart that I feel like it's necessary to say.
Absolutely.
If that's okay.
I told you this is your show. I said, I told you earlier at the beginning, this is your show.
Yes. So, what I really want to say at this moment, like I said, is just heavy on my heart, is that and the reason why I say we is because as a Black community, we come from generations and generations and generations of brokenness. And I think one of the most greatest learning experiences of this all, although I'm still learning, is to realize that although I'm going through a healing process myself, I have to realize that the people before me are not healed because they never got a chance to utilize their voice. They never got a chance to say that, no, what I'm experiencing is really real life. Because why, back in the days, or even just once again before us, everything was, man, ain't nothing wrong with you. Go down, go sit down, just shut up. Or, go talk to your friend about it. But that pain and that heartache, or that, that dream or something else that you was experiencing is really real. That deep palpitation in your heart and your mind racing and all of those things are really real, right? Yeah. And they never got a chance to express those things to anyone. And I think that that's why it's so important for me, because I had to realize that within my family dynamics, especially my mom herself, right? It was so many things that she never got a chance to heal from that she's still holding on to today. And although I, at this moment of time, am not able to help her, I know that what I am doing is an example and a guide for her, although she may not say it, right? Yeah. And that's for many people. Yeah. So the reason why I'm saying this is because I want you to know is that everyone heals at their own time. And when you're healing, you just have to respect someone else's space. They don't have to accept what you are saying. They don't have to agree with what you are saying. You and no one else. And I'm saying you're doing it for you and no one else, not for you to be nasty, disrespectful, rude, mean about it, because that's not who God wants you to be. But for you to be accepting and understanding that you are just one step ahead and one step closer to your goal and one step closer to your healing journey than the person that you may be approaching, or the person that may be accepting, or experiencing something else. So I just wanted to say that.
Absolutely. And I mean, you don't know how powerful that little segment right there was. I mean, that message, I guarantee you, reached a lot of people, even reached me, because me personally knowing all those things and knowing that, that's how it should be, we also forget sometimes, or we get complacent, and not understand. But the thing that I want to reiterate what you said was, people don't have to accept what you're saying. Their job is to share it and let it be, and let it come to life for that person on time. So that's so important, So definitely on that. So at this time, we got to do another commercial. So for the viewers who just tuned in, let them know who you are, give them your social media, how they can find you, and all the things that they need to know. And I'll put a few things up here on the screen for you as well.
Yeah, so once again, everyone, my name is Jayresa SASS. I also go by the name of your benevolent and sassy mentor. I help, I mentor women mainly and guide them through their experiences with trauma. And that's kind of like why I call myself the life strategist, right? I just feel like I've gained enough experience within my life at this moment of time to be able to navigate through those tough avenues of experiencing trauma and not being able to see a way out. And that's how the Thriving Woman came about. So for anyone that's interested, on finding out anything about me, you can visit my website at www.jayresasass.com and find out a little bit about me, even in regards to my talk show that airs on Wednesdays now, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Promote Her TV network, which is now an app on major streaming platforms. You can also visit us at www.promotehertv.com, and you can click on there and you can watch live as well, whatever is happening. Like I explained earlier, maybe next week, you'll be able to watch the show from this week that aired yesterday, so the replay, and then be able to catch up, because next week's show you don't want to miss. That story is, oh my goodness, so powerful. And that's what I love about it, because I am receiving healing also from these stories. And although some of the stories are having me revisit my past, it's also allowing me to remember some of the things that I experienced that I actually swept under the rug. But at this moment in time, I'm in a space of being able to accept it all, so it's not being a trigger to me.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. Isn't it just awesome how, when you, again, accept the situation and then also you start sharing, you get this onslaught of people who either can relate or have stories as well. And you're like, man, I can relate to that. And it makes everything so much easier, to be able to go through your situation, get help at the same time. Because with my nonprofit, which is the next thing I want to talk to you about, because I see you've developed one as well. It's just an amazing feeling, and then you create a whole community of people, and it's just fun times and it's good times. And for me, I lose track that I'm actually healing, consciously, but it's happening. And then when you stop and you think about it, you can't even focus on that no more. It's like, okay, it's happening, you know what I mean? And you start recognizing the things that you do, the positivity that you give off, and just that you exude. And then at the same time, again, you're helping other folks. So that's the whole idea behind my nonprofit. So share us a little bit about your nonprofit, the name, and the things that you do with your
nonprofit. So my nonprofit, I am enough. You hear that? That is an affirmation. I am enough. That name came about after I had about 100 different names, no exaggeration. And I think that when I hit that plateau of finally feeling like I've been able to identify myself is when God provided me with that affirmation. When I kept saying, well, what am I going to name this thing? And some people, once again, the power of your tongue, the words that you speak are so powerful. And I kept saying, well, what are you going to name? What am I going to name this thing? And God provided me with that. I am enough. And it fits so well. Oh my goodness. If I could even imagine and explain to you the feeling that I felt behind it when I received that message was just so powerful. And it matched what my purpose is with the nonprofit. And the nonprofit's purpose is to be able to share with the other population of the people that's experiencing, the mental health and developmental disabilities, that although there may be something you experience and you are enough, right? There is nothing that should be hindering you from being able to be your best self. So you let everyone else know that no matter what it is that you are, you are enough. You are enough. And I felt like, because I'm a fun, exciting person, building the social club atmosphere was exciting for me. The group home feelings and environments kind of made me feel like I was locked home and in prison. No offense to anyone. Yeah. That's just me personally. I'm excited. I'm live. I felt like I just made a connection to them, and I just wanted to figure out how I can make their voices be heard and bring their lives back to normal in a fun, exciting way, right? In a fun, exciting way. And that's basically, what I did. I just made sure that I was able to figure out a way. And for years, I'm telling y'all have to listen to y'all messages. Since 2013, God gave me this vision. Since 2013, God gave me this vision. And I remember before God transitioned me to entrepreneur life, because I have not been working in the field with other nonprofits since 2019, when God had me, develop this vision and put it all together. So putting the pieces to the puzzle together. So this healing journey of mine so many great things came out of it. My nonprofit, my mentoring program, this talk show, so many things. And so, like I said, so I remember, that was my purpose. So they get the opportunity to engage in fun things, right? Let's go in the community and let's, have a picnic in the park. Let's, have a party here. It's your birthday. Let's freaking celebrate. Do you know how many birthdays I've missed?
Yeah.
Because nobody celebrates. I had people to celebrate with me. I was going through a traumatic experience at that time, or even if I wasn't, I was so immune to being let down that even if people were excited for me, I wasn't excited for myself. So I spent many alone times, right?
Yeah.
Then getting my children involved and needing to share my children with their father, that was that was also something traumatic for me that I had to deal with. So I spent many holidays alone. So developing this relationship with this population was so important to me because I felt alive again and whole. And once I decided that, okay, this is what I'm going to move forward with because so many people need it. Experiencing how the group homes are in Pennsylvania and in New York and things like that, because those are the areas that I worked. I said, I'm going forward with it. That's it. Especially once he gave me that name, I Am Enough. Man, listen.
Yeah, absolutely. It just, when you get it and it's crystal clear, you can't do nothing but move with it, and it makes everything so much easier, and I'm sitting here just thinking it's just crazy how things correlate in the relationships. And again, for anybody that's just listening, I met this young lady when I was putting together. I was feeling like you were feeling at the time when you embraced my mission with the walk and everything and the mental health and wellness. And I was so determined to make sure I could provide as many resources as I could. And we built the platform. Shout out to my sister, Ms. Ronnie Gabriel. I hope she sees this as well. She helped me put together that website, and it's still up, and we wanted to just provide as many people and resources and businesses and individuals that could help toward mental health and wellness. And so since that was the way we met, I'd like for you to just describe, because I reached out and it was just all systems go from that. But what does mental health and wellness mean to you and in your words, and how do you really look at that, and how important is that to you? Just being the fact that that's the way we met and you supported the walk. So just all of it is mental health and wellness, but just speak on that exactly and what that means to you and what you envision that for not only yourself, but the people that you come in contact with.
So mental health, wellness is so important. It is so important. And I didn't realize that I was experiencing mental health issues. Once again, not knowing that I've been traumatized for so many years. Being accustomed and immune to the norms of everyone saying that there's nothing wrong with you. It's all right. Pick up your big girl, pants and move along around your day, and not realizing that we're so accustomed to suffering for so long inside that we tend to forget about it and realize that, no, this is something that needs to be, fixed and held. And what made me really pay attention more to what mental health is that I realized my behaviors were matching the people that I was providing support for. But the only difference was that on paper, I was not diagnosed. I wasn't labeled on paper, right? These things weren't identified within myself. And I'm just saying, like, well, wow, if I am behaving this way when I get upset, and if I'm doing this when I get upset, what's going on with me? So we go back to, researching and learning more about yourself. And when I realized that a lot of the things that I experienced for so many years, or a lot of the feelings that I had, or the, even the headaches, or the, the surgeries, or those all stemmed around trauma. And it also is what's affected my mental health. And it's when I realized that mental health is very important. And I collaborated it with, the social club, because once again, how many of us out there, and I'm saying us because I believe in teamwork. I believe in, us being united and being one. I don't separate myself from anyone. I was homeless before, so I know how it feels to be homeless. Whether you was with a mother, whether, you have a child, I was there. Whether you was by yourself, I was there. I think that God honestly put me in different spaces for purposes. Right. And that's just how I'm seeing it at this moment of time. I've experienced so many things, so many different things.
Absolutely. That is definitely the reason. He was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, I know that, and I remember during prayer one time I received that message too. So I know that all of these situations that I've been in, I've experienced them. I know what it's like. And even with the social club aspect, although I was focusing on people with just developmental disabilities, I incorporated mental health because for me and my person, knowing that I felt like I needed a connection to something fun, I needed a connection to other people, I needed a connection to people that understood me. That's important, right? People that understand you. Because when you're dealing with and once again, going back to teaching relationships, when you're incorporating yourself with people that don't understand you, don't know what your love language is or your personality style, your communication style, because they don't know theirs either, that's when the issues come about. But if I can relate to you with something that I'm experiencing and gain that emotional connection in some type of way to be able to, understand the process better, it'll be better. I always wanted social relationships. Those are the things that I liked. I always wanted that big sister that I never had, or that big brother or little brother that I never had. Although I do have those things in place, it's just that those connections within my personal environment was never there. Right. So those, once again, I realized with that connection, that feeling, that's why I was always at work all the time. Why? Because I was surrounded by those people that made me feel good.
Yeah.
The developmental disability. So putting myself in the look of it, I am enough is the affirmation for me to show that I'm enough, and I'm telling you that you are enough too. Because I know that I am enough, right? And then being able to build that social environment with people that are mental health and developmental disabilities comes from the fact of me knowing that I have mental health issues, but have a connection with and relationship with the people with developmental disabilities in other avenues. Absolutely. So having a dual diagnosis.
Absolutely. So let's shock the people, because they don't even realize, some people who may not have heard of you yet may not even realize you're not locally here in Houston, Texas. So for the people that want to get involved, want to support, want to help, or just need your services, let the people know where you are and how does it look to get involved with you, and they can't reach out and touch you. What can they do? And so where you are.
I'm so excited. I'm glad that you asked me that question. My motto to life, and I just really identified the method to my madness, is to provide people with services where insurance is not required, where a referral is not needed, where the doctor telling you A, B, C, and D is not required, because I realize that our community and our race and just people in general as Black people, we are suffering because of that stigma that we hold on to, right? We're suffering because we may not have insurance or we're not able to pay for those providers. So everything that I do in life at this moment of time focuses on people that are in professionals in a non-clinical setting where I don't need insurance to come and see you. I don't need all of this money to be able to get some type of help that I may need, so I'm excited about that, because even with the Thriving Women, I'm building a platform to where people can share the information and provide that information as the services that they provide, because they are those non-clinical healers. And it's so important because there's so many of us, it was me at one point in time who was going through such a tough time in my life that I couldn't even receive help because I didn't have any insurance, because I couldn't afford it. 2 kids by yourself and you're living in New York City and the rent is crazy, makes a big difference.
Yeah. So you coming to us from New York City or New York, and you're still able to reach out and get those people. So do you do Zoom calls with individuals? Do you have any type of, I guess, group settings that you do through Zoom or whatever video conferencing that you use? Do you do any of that right now?
Yeah, so like on my website, it'll state like I said, even with the services and stuff like that, we do everything via internet. As you'll see, everybody's still suffering from COVID, so we had to figure out ways on how we were going to pivot our business, right? I don't think yet y'all realize how important COVID was, right? This was either your sell or your sink opportunity, right? And if you want to, I mean, we're not going to get spiritual here, but if you want to even go into a spiritual room, and deeper, we can go there too at a later time. But this was your opportunity to sink or swim, and believe it or not, I was able to help so many people, even with helping them develop their business or help them with that book that they're trying to write, because I offer those services as well. And it was just much easier to get everybody on a conference call. Like even with us, like I wouldn't even probably be on your show today if you don't do it in this way, and even with the talk show. At one point in time, I was supposed to have live audiences, but I realized that so many people were willing to share their story, however, may not have been able to be financially stable to pay for that seat in my, and even God with that, some people, they're focusing on certain things, yes, I would love for this to be an opportunity to be, to make differences financially. However, there's a different purpose in this mission. And that's what I'm focusing on. So, it's just so important at this moment of time. And I'm just so excited to, like I said, to, for anything. So, go on my website. Once again, I'm leading you to that website.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that I was just straightforward with information. I told you as much as I can about you, about me. You have any questions, email me. Listen, I mean, not to say that I take calls and stuff all night, because that's one of the things with the healing process. I taught myself how to, organize my life.
Yeah.
Because when you're going through, when you deal with trauma, messes up your brain mentally, especially when you experience trauma from an early age. So my brain is not really as sharp as it used to be. I mean, I've even spent time reteaching myself different things, and that's something that I had to fess up to and accept as my truth.
Right.
It's something that happens with trauma. So you see why I feel like it's so important to talk about these things, because people don't realize. Like I didn't know. I'm like, damn, well, excuse my language. Well, why am I forgetting that? And now I'm beating myself up, and it's like, but sis, you've been through something serious.
Yeah, absolutely.
For so long, for an early age, it's not your fault. Stop beating yourself up.
Yep. And a lot of people may not understand that. And I got your email down at the bottom. So for any of the listeners who wants to get in touch with this incredible woman, just a wealth of knowledge, the email's there, Jayresa at BeneloventSassyMentor.com. So just reach out to her.
Yeah, and I kind of want to give them a story behind that benevolent and sassy mentor. Like I said, my name is Jayresa Sass. My married name is Sass. And I'm on this whole divine timing thing, although circumstances didn't happen well with that situation, even with SASS, like I just feel like it just matched me in general. But with the benevolent and sassy piece of it being a mentor, right? I don't call myself a coach, because I feel like we all need guidance and we need more than coaching in our life. We need that mentor, someone that is going to really be saying, like, if you need my hand, I'll hold your hand and guide you to the river if you need to. That's just me, always been me. The benevolent piece, so sassy is just who I really am. The benevolent piece came once again from God. I remember developing into this woman that I am today. I kept saying to my coach at the time, it's like, you gave everybody these fancy names as far as what they're going to transition into. And I don't have a fancy name. I'm like, what am I going to call myself? I said, so she's like, well, what do people say about you and this, that? And I said, well, and once again, a reality check of realizing that I surrounded myself by so many people that once again was going through their own things, not realizing they were going through trauma themselves, but our conversations always were on other things besides the important things, whether it was on social media or anything like that. So that was a reality check for me as well. And I remember going to church on New Year's Eve. And this is after, once again, the words that come out of your mouth, be mindful.
Absolutely.
I kept saying, well, I want a fancy name. I want something else. Sassy is my identity because, I don't want to, for so long, my identity has been hidden. So yes, I am sassy. I love it, whatever.
Yeah.
But I want another name, besides that. And I was at church and I remember, God sends you messages in the strangest ways. You got to just be ready to receive them.
Yeah.
And I remember towards the end of the service, the pastor was like, for those people out there, and he just started describing this person that related to me in so many ways. He said, you that benevolent leader.
That's
and
funny.
I said right then and there, wow. And I left by the church and I said to my mentor, I said, I got it. And that's how Jayresa, your benevolent and sassy mentor, came about.
No, that's amazing. And the one thing that I've been paying attention to during this interview is you're in tune, your discernment is awesome, and everything has been God directed for you.
Yes.
That's when you know it's real. You're not one of those people talking about, I did this, I did that, I did this. It's from that higher being, and that's what I admire. And that's the thing that draws you to me with this whole story, and it's just amazing, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I had to realize that it's not, sometimes when people say you talk about the things that you're doing and you sharing that, I had to realize going on social media that I didn't post because so many blessings and so many amazing things were happening to me. And I didn't post because I didn't want anyone to feel like I was boasting or being or bragging or feeling like my ego was too big. And then God gave me a reality check and said, Jayresa, you can't brag about something that is passionate, that is purposeful, that is just reality. You can't brag about something that's the truth. And something that's just so natural that's happening that, you have no control over it. So you just play your position in the position that I put you in, and then, just continue to deliver the purpose. And once I was able to receive that, it's when I loosened up a lot about myself. So once again, reliving trauma, and revisiting that thing of trauma where we tend to shy away from things that once made us feel hurt. Right? I'm afraid to step on, something and walking on those eggshells. And once I was able to realize that is when I loosened up a little bit. I have a lot of work to do, a lot of work to do, right? I spent so many years in not sharing happy moments within myself with other people, that's one of the things that I definitely, encourage to people. I always say, let's celebrate, let's do something exciting, because I spent so many times alone. So, like I said, just being able to have that space of, just this opportunity, man, is just amazing.
Look, I'm proud of you, and I appreciate you. You are enough, and you already know that. So that's a strong thing. But speaking on that, the social media deal, I was raised by my mom, my dad chronicles. There's a whole story behind that. But I was raised, we called her Miss Kodak. So she wanted to, and she did it for the memories. She wasn't sharing pictures and this and that. But in our time and in these days, everything is about sharing on social media and putting up pictures and stuff like that. But I'm saying this because I struggled with that same thing when I found my purpose and started doing the things that I'm doing. But even before that, I was always sharing pictures. It was about my kids. It was about just real life, and you hear how you meet people's representatives on Facebook and it's not real, this and that. For me, it's always been real. It's about my kids. It's about things I'm going through, and it's always real. But then when I started what I'm doing now, I started feeling like, man, people probably think I'm trying to brag and, this, that, and the other. But I got that same message. I even had to talk to somebody because I was like, man, should I share this? I don't want people to, look at it different or, this, that, and the other. Man, they told me straight up, and they're very so a God-fearing person is like, the exposure is needed. You're actually helping people. Don't worry about the ones that are looking at it like, you're bragging or you're boasting, because they're missing the point anyway. It's those people that are not saying anything. It's those people that are quiet. It's those people who have not been able to share moments and they're looking at it and they're feeling the joy because they wish they had it, and then it opens them up. So I stand with you firm on that. Keep sharing, keep we'll call it boasting if that's what they look at it as. Keep boasting because you're going to help somebody. That's the only thing I was saying on that. And it's so important. And that was the reason for the start of my podcast, because it was like, you know what? I'm not trying to share me, but I'm not going to stop either. But I'm trying to share everybody else. I'm trying to get people to talk. I'm trying to get people to share their stories, because that's how we make the connections and we make the world a better place. Because if we can put down that ego and put down that, I'm better than the next person, and just share stuff that's real, that's when we can make the difference and see the difference. So that was my reason behind creating this Reach podcast. And the name came because I forgot what I was going to call it now, and as I was talking, I'm like, man, I'm trying to reach people, and I wish people can understand, because when you reach people and this and that, that's the name, the Reach Podcast Show, and the tagline is where every show reaches beyond the ears of the listeners, because there's going to be so many people that's not going to like it, so many people that's not going to really promote it or whatever the case may be, but we're still reaching beyond the listeners' ears, and we're going into those places, into those people that are in moments like you've experienced, and they're in a dark place, and they can just hear, you can close your eyes and you can listen to the show. You don't have to be video present, you know what I'm saying? And so, I just think it's strong, and I appreciate your message, all the things that you're doing. And
thank you. I appreciate it. Listen, I'm still in awe behind it all too. So just as well as you guys are experiencing this for the first time, I'm experiencing it for the first time as well. And I'm not experiencing my lessons and my real life experience for the first time. You can't forget things that you've experienced, and that's what also makes you more of an expert as well, because it's just like going to that marriage counselor who was never married and telling you how to run your marriage, right?
Yeah.
Or like Grandma Betty telling you, baby, you shouldn't be doing A, B, C, and D, and she never even experienced that, right?
Yeah.
So being able to have those real life experiences, and I feel like the things that I feel like I'm an expert on is everything that I literally studied, even on down to something simple as, okay, wow, like I even remember going back to social media, researching how social media affects the person in every aspect.
Yeah.
I remember at one point in time, I stayed off of social media because I was jealous that everybody else was doing better than me, not realizing that that's a disguise. But to me, at that moment of time, it wasn't disguise. Why? Because I was in a dark space. So everything was just truthful to me and made me feel defeated, And so like even something like that, even like I said, researching that was such a powerful research, because I didn't realize how I was holding myself to this big standard and this obligation that society puts on us, right?
Yeah,
and the standard that people say that you have to live up to.
Yeah.
And I was holding myself to that and not realizing that I was. And social media just made me depressed day after day after day. Yeah. And I had to realize, how to deal with that. So like even till now, people feel some type of way because they say, oh, JVC, you don't answer your phone, you don't receive messages and stuff. So anyone that's watching this that is connected to me, it's not that I don't respond. I have myself on a schedule to where I only engage in social media at certain times of the day, along with reading emails and those type of things, to keep myself on track, but also to not get myself lost.
Your limits
behind the hype.
Yeah, your limits, and that's important for people to understand too. You know what you need to do for yourself, and that's the thing everybody needs to understand, and recognize. So, man, hats off to you for that, and people need to understand it. If they don't, hey, they got to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? If they want to deal with you, so it's a respect thing when it comes to that. But man, I appreciate you being on the show. I thank you. And again, it's commercial time because we've reached the end of the show hour, but leave the listeners with something and then let them know again how to find you, the website and all of that stuff, man. And I just appreciate you being on the show.
Listen, I appreciate the connection. I just say to everyone already, like, you just have to pay attention to the signs, Your purpose will come, and connections. Cherish every connection that you make, even though it might not be useful at the moment that it is made, it will be useful eventually. So please don't burn any bridges and things like that. I'm so happy that I was able to realize that my trauma was hindering me and messing up a lot of things that I engaged myself into. So I had to get that under control. Okay.
Yeah.
So with that being said, you guys can reach me. And once again, like I said, contact me at jayresasass.com. Go on jayresasass.com. You can find me there. I'm on social media, Instagram and Facebook. Jayresa, your benevolent and sassy mentor. But if you go to my website, you can find me on social media there as well. And my website leads you to everything about me. So I'm excited about that. And I want to tell you, thank you.
Absolutely.
For having me today. Thank you for providing me with this opportunity. Once again, believing in divine timing. It was not planned, and I want to say that, right? It was not planned that my book and my talk show released on the same time. I remember when I was working on my book, I told my editor that I would love for my book and my talk show to release on the same day. And what happened yesterday?
You spoke into existence.
It released on the same day, and then I'm here today to tell a story. I'm so blessed, and I want to say thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sure you wouldn't want it any other way, and I'm glad it worked out that way. So with that being said, the only thing you had brought up something, and that's a whole nother conversation, but something that I would encourage you to do is when you do your social media, speak to your people about how social media warps your mind, or how the things about social media, you know how you feel about it, and that's just something.
Listen, once again, I'm gonna tell y'all.
Do a live on that.
I think I researched this social media thing when I was going through a divorce. Oh my goodness. And it was summertime. So y'all could imagine. You're going through a divorce, it's summertime, everybody walking around, they beach bodies, everybody all lovey-dovey, looking cute and stuff. You on social media, you so sad, depressed, and you scrolling through. And you done saw Becky with something that you going through, right? Becky fine with her man, they happy, they on vacation. I just went through this damn divorce. I'm sad, I'm depressed, I'm heartbroken. And now I have something that's making me remind me that this is not what I have. So what you think that's gonna do?
Yeah.
All right, now I scroll past Becky real quick. Y'all on social media and y'all be like, man, forget that. You know how Valentine's Day come around and y'all be like, forget Valentine's Day.
Absolutely.
Becky, and now you get to Shantae, and Shantae doing the same thing.
Yeah.
What kind of nonsense is this? I'm telling you, I'm being transparent with y'all. I deactivated my social media page for like months. So when it came up to marketing and putting myself out there to people and letting everybody know what it is that I do, I struggled so bad. Yeah. Because one, I did the research with social media. I also experienced something traumatic where, people shared my pictures on social media inappropriately without my permission. So that was also something traumatic. So I shied away from something that once made me feel hurt. That's just like, you touch the hot stove and then, okay, shit, excuse my language. Not me not go back to the hot stove because it's hot. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So it's the same thing with those type of traumatic situations, is what you tend to, be afraid to relive again.
Yeah. And I think that'd be an awesome live for you to do, share with your women and stuff like that. But, you just take and do with that whatever you please. But again, man, it's the Reach Podcast show where every show reaches beyond listeners' ears. And again, our sister Jayresa, I appreciate you being on. It was amazing.
Thank you.
And God bless. We'll definitely be in touch.
Yes. Thank you so much, guys. I'm so excited. And please make sure you purchase my workbook. You will not be disappointed. Watch the talk show. Filming through COVID was hectic, so bear with me. I'll be back together. I was scratching my face, sweating. Imagine trying to film. You in a house with kids homeschooling. You got a dog. You got the sirens. Let me listen for y'all New Yorkers. Y'all know how it is living out here. But with that being said, that just goes to show you, just like the talk show says, she is not her trauma. Despite of all the trials and tribulations I experienced, on down to, like I said in the beginning, mentioning that my son was missing for 3 weeks during that time, and I lost sleep. I wasn't sleeping. So many things that were happening to me at that time. I did it. I got through it all. And that is also a reason why I cried yesterday when I told you watching the show.
Yeah. Amazing, sister. Well, much power to you. Respect and everything, man. And I appreciate you again being here. It's the Reach Podcast Show, guys. And I appreciate you, sis.
Thank you. Have a good one, guys.